All right. So, first off, we're going to start off with surviving death. Okay. Now, on surviving death, that is an interesting show. It's on Netflix, and part of the things that's crazy about that show is that it's a 6-part series. And so I don't necessarily agree with reincarnation. I don't know if I believe in that. That's just being real. It's some other things I'm not sure if I believe in as well. But you know what? What's interesting about surviving death? I forgot to put the check right here. I check everything I seen. Anyway, oops, I done pushed the wrong damn thing. Anyway, let's see. I push this back. All right. So anyway, surviving death. What's unique and interesting about this is that each episode covers a different death experience. You say, what do you mean death experience? Each episode covers a different death experience. Okay, this is new on Netflix, and so it says it explores questions that have been contemplated throughout time. What does it mean to die, and is death the end of our existence? Weaving together innovative new research with firsthand accounts from those who've been close to death. So each episode covers a different death experience. Okay, so the first one, let's see, where is the episodes? I'll tell you. The first one and through the 6 is each compelling. There it is, 6 episodes. Okay. The first one, near-death experience, and they talk about this woman, and she was kayaking, and she's actually a surgeon. And so she kayaking through the rapids. Some things go wrong. She go over a waterfall. She's end up pinned upside down underwater for over 30 minutes. Nobody could get to her, get her out. The rescuers had changed from rescue mission to body recovery mission. And she said that she could feel her bones breaking and she was crushed. But she said she felt at peace. And she said that her life jacket was just floating in the river, and the guy was trying to swim to get it, maybe to give to her husband or something as memorabilia type thing. And what ended up happening is that he ended up, her body underwater bumped up against his leg. He rescued her. They working on her, trying to revive her. She was bloated, blue. They just knew she was dead. She said she could see and watch them do everything. She was in this field, and she said it was like some beings. She don't know if it was people, ghost spirit, whatever, but some beings was with her and took her and talked to her, told her some things. She said she was at peace. But one of the things that it told her was that it led her to believe that her son wouldn't live to be 18 years old. And so she never told anybody that part. She recovered, didn't have brain damage, anything, instantly. After over 30 minutes without oxygen to the brain. They were in Chile, in the middle of nowhere, of course. And so they had to strap her body to a kayak to get her out of there. And when they got out the woods in the dirt road in the middle of nowhere, just happened to be an ambulance waiting. It was like really crazy, the story. And so she didn't tell anybody about what happened with her, and knowing that her son may not make it to be 18. And so when he turned 18, she told him what happened. He like, okay, whatever, mom, thanks. before he was 19, dude was no longer with us. I ain't gonna tell you everything. I told you a lot already, but that should have wet your whistle. Speaking of wetting the whistle, hey, if you got a water product or a drink or something that you would like for me to talk about, this would be the perfect time. Anyway, that was creepy. Episode 2, talk about mediums and people clairvoyant and people being possessed to talk and this and that, or people go and get locked in the box and then the table start to moving and stuff, and then they talk about ectoplasm come out of the person's mouth and then the spirit can use it to manifest things. That's really creepy, really kind of weird and scary and interesting. I don't know if I believe in this stuff, because if you believe in God and the Bible, it say, hey, you ain't supposed to be doing that. And if anything is doing that, it probably is not right. So, although they live in a dimension of where space and time is not the same as us, we're kind of stuck in space and time with our bodies. So, if you do believe in the life after death, then you know that the spirits and different things can see and know things that we may not know, and they lie and can be deceitful and try to trick us into thinking it's a loved one, this, that, and the other. Hey, again, it's all about your belief and what do you think about that. Now, they also had a second part, because it was a lot they was talking about with that. Signs from the dead. This was kind of weird. This one kind of creeped me out. This one was a little tweaky. This was tweaky. That was deep. That was deep. So this was really kind of weird. It really kind of had me like, wow. A person talking about, for example, their mom and them, they used to be bird watchers. And they would always say, hey, Mom, if you can come back, why don't you come back as a cardinal to let us know everything is okay? And she would say, I try. And then to sum it up, this was on film. While they was talking, a cardinal just flew and landed on like her hand or something. And so she just talking like, how many times has a cardinal flew and landed on a person? Cardinals ain't going to be landing on you and getting close. Where I stay, I've seen cardinals. They ain't about to come and fly and land on me. And so she had it in her hand. They was all like, oh, this is mama. And they tried to throw the cardinal back into the air. The cardinal flew. It came and landed right on her shoulder and sat. I'm like, whoa. It was a couple other instances and signs from the dead was creepy. They also use like how people say EMF and white noise, and you can have recordings and then you don't hear nothing, and then when you play back, they was in this house in New York that Aaron Burr, former president, used to stay. All kind of people stayed in. And when they was doing the recordings and stuff in the house, you could hear nothing. And then when they play it back, it'd be like some white noise, and then it'd be like, Aaron Burr is in the house. Be like, and I'm the hell up out of here. They had a little creepy stuff up in there, okay? That was a little something else. That episode, that was a little scary. Seeing signs from the dead. Seeing dead people. This was something else. This was deep. This was really, really deep. So, they talk about how can your consciousness survive a body's demise. It's stories of people that were pronounced dead. No brain activity, no heartbeat, anything. And then come back And then be talking about stuff the doctors was doing. This one woman was talking about, I remember you did like this and said, this can't be happening. But at the same time, this woman, they was working on her. She was a flatliner. And that woman had a prediction the whole time about her pregnancy that you guys need to check that out. And it was really, really, really weird. Now, the one that really kind of tweaked me out on this one. Okay, I was like, wow, cartoonish. So this woman had a brain aneurysm that was so big and bloated that if any moment it bust, she would die. So they ended up doing a surgery that basically had her brain and heart stopped for almost an hour. Ended up removing all the blood out of her body. They removed all the blood out of her body in this procedure. I don't know how the hell they did this procedure. I'd like to know a little bit more. They didn't really focus on the procedure that much, other than to say, you know, that she was basically dead. They had her laid out. Her eyes was taped closed. Her ears had stuff in it where you couldn't hear. And she had a flat line on her brain and her heart. They had a surgery going on to try to do that because they said when they released all the blood, then it could shrink and they could do a little something, whatever. Okay. For an hour, this woman was telling them, she says it felt like she was sitting on the doctor's shoulder. There was no roof, no walls, nothing. She could move freely around. She says she described the drill and the tools that the doctor used. And how could she have done this? She was like, they thought they was working on me, that I was that hunk of stuff right there. But I was watching them the whole time. And she described all kind of stuff people said, did, and stuff. That was a little creepy. That was something else. And they had another one about that was a little deep. That was like, okay. Reincarnation, they saved the best for last. They really did. Because this right here, okay, was the creepiest of all. Okay, now I don't exactly believe in the Bible, and I do believe in the Bible, but this right here creeped me out. So according to the Bible, that I haven't seen anything about reincarnation. It's like when you're done, you're done. You guys let me know in the comments. Does the Bible say you're going to be reincarnated? I didn't never see that. As far as I know, when you're done, you're done. Now, not to say you dust. You're going to go into the next, whatever with your spirit. It's not like you done and then you just dust. You will be moving on to something else, but it ain't coming back here as far as I know, what they say. So here's why this was the creepiest. This involved a lot of kids, okay? Kids that's like three, okay? 3 years old. Some as old as 5. How would you feel? Y'all let me know. How would you feel if your 3-year-old is playing, talking about, and crashing his plane, talking about, little man in plane can't get out. Plane on fire. Little man dead. And having nightmares saying, airplane on fire. Airplane crash on fire. Little man can't get out. And he's having what they call night terrors about this. So they start to talk to him about it. And this dude is giving out exact names. He said, well, my name is Jack Larson. And they said, like, when he would do drawings and stuff, when he was 3 years old, he already knew how to write his name. He would write James and then a 3. And they were like, why do you always write James 3? Because I'm the 3rd James. So they started investigating, come to find out, of course, everybody knows James or Jack is, nickname. They find him out. lo and behold, this dude died. And this kid put out so much information. This kid, how would you feel if your 3-year-old or 4-year-old is telling you the ingredients on how to make napalm when he was on the damn ship in World War II, telling you how they made napalm? How the hell do you know what napalm is at 4 years old? Let alone how to make it. Who can fake that? Who is doing, like, this was deep. And they had multiple things of kids doing it, but as they get older, they would lose those memories and forget things. This one guy, this kid would play, and they would ask him questions, and he would tell them, no, call me Hollywood. He used to tell his parents, call him Hollywood. And when he'd be playing with his toys, he'd be talking about some action and cut. And they like, what are you doing? He like, well, you know, I live here, but my first place was in Hollywood. I used to be in movies, this and that. And he started describing all this stuff, saying that he used to be an agent and have an agency and the color car he had and all this stuff. And it was all true. It was all true. They ended up, and it wasn't like he was saying, I'm Tom Cruise. It was some no name, like character actor. I was a kid in Oklahoma talking about what a character actor did that died in 1961. And when he was acting, it was in the 30s and 40s. Really creepy. Really something else. And exactly, how the hell would you know that, kid? You know how to make napalm? Napalm. You know how many adults don't even know what napalm is? You know how many adults definitely don't know how to make it? I don't know how. It's not something I would look into. But I know what it is. But anyway, this is really interesting. I'm not going to say that this show changed my mind or made me disbelieve, but it definitely made me a little more interested in what is going on and what it all means, to put it that way. And I think that it's definitely worth watching. It's a 6-part series, and I watched it straight through. I watched the first one, and before I knew it, I was into the second one. Once I was into the second one, it reeled me into the third and fourth. And then by the time I was at the fifth, I couldn't wait to see what they was talking about in the sixth. So it was very interesting and good television, and it's very thought-provoking. I would give it overall about a 7.5 to maybe an 8, mostly because of that reincarnation with the kids and other things. It was really, really, really thought-provoking. It made me think a lot about different things, and that's good. You know, good TV should make you think, should make you feel. That's what a good show or a director is able to do. Make you feel one way, change it up, make you feel another way, change it up, do this, do that. And although this was more of a documentary type thing, it did have archive footage and other stuff, interviews, and so it didn't feel like a typical documentary. Nevertheless, definitely worth checking out. So with that being said, let me get to a couple of y'all questions on this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move to the next topic. One journey, phenomenon, a fact or a situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I must have missed if you was talking to somebody else about it, but you know, you say this baby experienced reincarnation. You know, I'm not exactly sure though, because they do say that sometimes babies And kids can be more subject to see spirits or hear things, because a child, as you get older, you start to get a little hardened and not believe in stuff, and not be as in tune with stuff. And who knows if it's a spirit talking to them. One thing about the kid that would say airplane crash, little man can't get out, he would know, like they would go to an aviation museum, he would know everything about all these old World War II planes, the names, all the capabilities, all this stuff at like 3, 4, 5. How do you know this stuff? Now, they did have him actually when he was in his 20s, grown now. And he don't remember a lot of this stuff. He would say he felt like it was two people inside of him sometimes. He said he felt like it was two people, meaning he still felt himself, but maybe something else was in there with him. You see what I'm saying? And, it's interesting how he said they went and did something. And when they did that, it kind of relieved it. And he was able to kind of take over and move on. I don't want to spoil it, but it was interesting. Very thought-provoking. We live in a world within a world. We are surrounded by planets and stars. We are. You're definitely right. It's a lot going on, man. And it just makes you, like I say, if anything, it's thought-provoking. Makes you wonder about our place. People think, as people are atheists, that, hey, when you're gone, it's nothing. Some people think, hey, when you're gone, you go straight to either heaven or hell. Some people don't know. This is interesting. It makes you think about some things. I'm not saying that it brings you to any conclusions. It doesn't say because of this, that, and the other, boom, this is this. It doesn't. It says this is what's happened. This is what we know. And we don't know much, but we want to continue to know more and study and learn. Mr. Stony Rock, I know that it is. However, I don't know how to make it. And if I would, and if I did, I wouldn't tell anyone. I guess you're talking about napalm. Right. So, yeah, exactly. I know what it is, but I don't know how to make it. And I wouldn't tell nobody either. It's a book called The Anarchist Cookbook. And people that have that have done some stuff. That book teach you how to make bombs and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of people, homegrown terrorists, have had that book and then start making bombs and all kinds of stuff. I'm not suggesting you get that one, but there's some crazy stuff out there. Now, let's see. Let me get on this. Let's see. It could have been a spirit. It probably could. Two souls. Probably could. Because that's what I'm saying. It's thought-provoking. Because they are pure, their intuition is a lot more active or sensitive than most adults. Exactly. That's why if you hear stories about a child is able to see spirits or dead loved ones or in touch with this or that, the more you out here in the world, then your intuition and all kind of stuff gets smaller and smaller. Your beliefs change and things, and you're less likely to believe or try or be open to stuff and lose that connection. Mr. Trini, for you all that don't know, is from Trinidad. And so he says in the Caribbean, it is said that some are born with a veil over their eyes. I've heard of this before. They can see spirits, or that what is not seen carnally is more appropriate way to say it. Okay, so he's saying, instead of saying they say spirits, it's more of they're seeing something other than us walking around. We don't know if it's a spirit, a demon, anything, but they seeing and being able to talk. And the veil, so even in the Bible, it says that it's a veil between the spirit world, and that the veil will be lifted at one point. That's way down the road though. So that's kind of crazy. They use the word veil, like, you know, the bride or something. You can't really see. You know it's there. You know that little pretty face is there, and it's right there. You can almost see it, but you can't. And that's how it is. Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it. Yeah. See, the veil. So yeah. It does speak of that in high and low play. It does. So hey, very interesting, very thought-provoking. Check it on out. Now, moving on to my next review.